Hi guys, I'm Matt.
I'm Sune.
And we're the world. We're just two adults
learning to be kids
as we follow our dad's world.
We hope you enjoy the story.
Great, so this is video 8 of 10 videos. We're getting to the end. Well, thank you for joining us up until now. It's been so great to journey with all of you, and thank you for commenting, for interacting, engaging, and we're so excited for what's to come. So today we're on the 6th yes of the 7 yeses.
So this yes is one that I knew was coming, but Matt kept this as a surprise to me. And this was the authority yes.
Yes, so this is actually the story of how I asked Sune's parents if I could marry her.
So just a bit of a backstory. At the beginning of our courtship, part of our relationship, we sat down with my parents just to ask for their blessing and their permission kind of for Matt to come visit me at home and to go on this journey with me. And my parents from the beginning really just gave Matt their blessing and gave our relationship their blessing, which really carried a lot of weight and meant a lot to us. Not only because of the blessing, but we really knew that they were covering us in prayer, and that they, together with our other parents, were our biggest cheerleaders from the beginning. Just in terms of the context of what authority means to us, or what we've experienced, and we know that this is not the same for everyone. Your experience might be very different. Your relationship with your parents or your dad might be very different. We're just sharing out of our experience, and especially my experience growing up, and the role that my dad played in my life and the significance of that. Both my parents were very present in my life growing up, really loving me well and leading me well and covering me in prayer, and that carried a lot of weight just in terms of my journey, my life, my relationship with God, but just life in general. And I'm so grateful for their authority and the way that they led with love. And with kindness and with gentleness, but also just being able to submit to my parents' authority growing up was easy. And I know it's not the case for everyone, but very grateful for what I could have in my parents and in my dad, especially as head of the household that I grew up in. So you might not have had a dad like that, but if you're a guy, you're still able to be that dad for your kids. And in my life, that authority figure were my parents, and especially my dad. And in your significant other's life, the authority figure might be a single mom, or it might be a different parent figure, but I want to share just that significance and the importance of honoring and respecting that figure and that authority.
It's a truth that God communicates to us, that He put His children and specifically His daughter under the authority of her dad as the head of their house, and He set it up that way so that she would be safe, so that she would be protected, and so that it would be a picture of what we have in our Father God. And Sune's experience was that, I believe, is close to God's original intent for it, and I again honor mums and paps for doing that so well and doing it with God, and I could see the fruit and the blessing of that. So that question is so important to ask, because when we do get married, when anyone gets married, there's a shift with the authority going from the one person to the other, and if that isn't communicated, if that isn't honored and respected, it can cause a lot of hurt and pain, which is something we've seen around us, and we don't want people to go through that. We don't want people to experience hurt and pain, especially when they don't know why they're experiencing that. So we really hope that this brings light to whether it's a good situation, it brings light to why it's so good, and why the relationship between dad and in-laws and the daughter and all of that is so good. But also, if it's bad, to be like, this is actually why, and let's work together, let's solve that problem, let's We didn't have to stay there, like we said in our last video. We didn't have to say no to hardships. We get to say yes. We get to have hope. We get to move forward. We get to have freedom and victory, because that's God's heart. That's His Father's heart. So, big context, but that's sort of the background around this. Yes. So it now got to the stage where it was time to pop the question to Sune, but before that, to pop the question to her parents. Again, like everything else, don't want to mess it up. Want to be dependent on God, because He knows how to love her best. So I asked Him for an idea of how I can do this well. So because we talked about engagement, we've talked about like, are we gonna do the whole ring shopping process together? The ring itself, and it's not going to be a surprise, but I could maybe do a surprise in a different way. The idea was to organize a date with Sune's dad and mom at a restaurant, catch up, have a good time, and then ask them specifically, and then later reveal that I've asked them, and obviously not knowing, but hoping that they would say yes, and then reveal that they've said yes to Sune. So the date that we talked about earlier, in the beginning of starting to share the yeses, the date where we went through all the yeses in the little box with all the different pictures and went to different places, that all built up to me revealing to Sune that her parents have said yes.
Which was such a big surprise, like, because they kept the surprise so well. Like, I couldn't believe how well Matt and both my parents actually kept that surprise. They said it was very difficult for them, but I was super impressed, because it was just, it was so special to me when this was revealed to me that they've already had this conversation. And,
it was great for me as well, because I'm like, oh yes, Jesus, it's a great idea, but can we pull this off? and we did, and I'm so grateful we could do it that way. So I organized the date with them first, and I went to visit, and then we had a coffee, and in that I felt to just honor them for who they are as a mother, as a father, not just to their children, but to so many spiritual kids that God has brought across their path, and just honoring their character and speaking that over them. I felt to do that as a start, and then
you did that so beautifully. I obviously heard afterwards, and it was so special to my parents.
And just being able to then, in that context, and then sharing my heart for Sune and where I feel we are headed, I could then ask them, would they let me marry their daughter, which is a massive question, massive moment in my life, all of our lives. But I'm so grateful for the confidence and the peace that God gave me to do that. And and then I asked them, and it was such an emotional moment of them saying yes, and us just taking that in, and really thanking God for the significance of it, and the journey that He's taken us on to get to that point. So very grateful for that. And then since then I was buzzing, obviously having to keep this whole secret. And then fast forward to the date where it was revealed. The morning, obviously I knew this is where it's going to end. I'm going to tell her parents said yes. And so that day was the morning, starting with the first yes, having the box, and then we went to a bunch of different places throughout the day. Every yes at a place. We went to McDonald's in Stellenbosch as our first yes, like throwing back to that pursuit. Yes, we went to Table Mountain as a mountain to signify that moment of being boyfriend and girlfriend, where it was also at a mountain, the foot of a mountain. We went to the Castle of Good Hope in
quite an experience.
In Cape Town for the walls, the walls, yes.
Then we went to Lion's Head.
To go back up, we just went back to Lion's Head at the bottom for the fourth yes to the future. And then for the fifth yes to hardships, we went to the waterfront because there were hard ships there. And we sat in front of the ships and then had ice cream, and it was like, okay, this is yes, and just reflecting on that and having a moment to be grateful for the fact that we got to go through that. And then the next yes was the sixth yes.
This one was wrapped individually, seeing that it was a surprise. So when I opened it, then it said it's the authority yes. And the Afrikaans for they said yes, which was so special to me. It included this little picture of the moment when Matt actually asked my parents when he had given them the gift and when he received their yes. So I hope you can see.
Wow.
So this special little photo to remember that moment by, and to just show me that it actually happened. The proof, so that we could go ring shopping.
Yeah, which is amazing. So yeah, that was an incredible day. That was the authority, yes.
He felt that we should not be looking at rings and start planning anything once he had that yes from my parents, even though we knew they were backing us and cheering us on so much. So that also was so special, just really respecting and honoring them and their role in that way. And when we had that yes from them, we could start looking for rings, and then just knowing Matt's heart and how he honored them but also honored me also just made me feel so loved and made me even more excited to get to journey towards marriage with this wonderful man. And then eventually knowing that authority from my parents would be given over to Matt.
Crazy.
Was just it was quite significant.
What an honor and privilege, and that authority, yes, is not just that authority being handed over in that moment, but it also there's a blessing around that, and we actually experienced that, like Sune said earlier, from the beginning of our relationship. But it was so beautiful to see how in moments of us, different parts of our relationship, they actually gave us the freedom to get to know each other in this context of their home when we were on holiday together.
They would spend time with us, which was special, but also allow us to have time.
Yes, and create those moments for us and the space for us to continue falling in love and getting to know each other, and just that trust, especially that her dad had, trusting me with his only daughter was it meant a lot to me, and I really cherish that to this day. I don't know, when I'm a dad one day I'll see what that's like, but I can imagine it's not easy to just give your daughter to a guy and trust the guy. But I really know now that it was more him trusting God in me more than trusting me. And that's so beautiful, that when we do this with God, you get to trust God even in those areas and be like, Lord, I don't know this guy well enough yet, but I know you, and I know you wouldn't bring someone into my daughter's life who's asked you for someone to love her well. So he could trust that more than he could trust me, because I also wouldn't trust me sometimes. But I trust God, and I know that he's the one that's going to help me to love her well, and he knew that too. So that is beautiful. That's
special.
Yes. Authority, yes. Okay, that's the sixth yes. The next yes is the last yes, the second and last video of this journey of sharing our stories. We are excited for next time, so please join us as we head to the seventh yes, which is actually our engagement story. So get excited. We'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you next time, and in the meantime, feel free to like, share, subscribe, or comment below.
As always, the invitation is open for all of us. Let's be kids together as we follow our dad on this incredible life adventure.
Yay.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.